Hey everyone, Dumont Owen here. It's Wednesday at noon, and that means we're talking about LinkedIn. Now, before we get started, I need to do a little housekeeping here. If this is your first online learning experience with me, you need to know a couple of things. One is that when I share my screen, as I'm going to do shortly, I can't see your comments and questions, and I really want to see them. So go ahead and keep entering them because I will stop and I will look at them and answer them. And also, if you want me to know who it is, because there is a 10-second lag there, if you want me to know that it's your question or comment, then go above me right here and give StreamYard permission to show your name from Facebook. And you only have to do that once, but it really helps. So today we're talking about how to build a LinkedIn profile that will sell while you asleep. Sounds good, huh? And it's absolutely possible. So today I'm going to go over some general principles. I'm going to show you the things that really matter, the things that'll make a difference. And if you stay to the end, I'm also going to show you a free resource that will help you in building your profile. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Hold on a second. I'm going to ask my friendly associate if he can see my slides.
I see you talking. I don't see the slides yet.
Okay. I'm going to...
Probably just coming up. Oh, I think, here they are.
Okay, good. All right. So let me go back 1 second. Okay, so today we're talking about how to build a LinkedIn profile that sells while you sleep. So let's get started. It's not. Okay, there we go. All right. This is what we're going to cover today. Where your profile fits in the LinkedIn lead generator or generation system. And this is really important because if you want to generate leads on LinkedIn, you have to follow a system. Very important. Secondly, what is an all-star LinkedIn profile? Because there are different opinions as to what that actually means. The 7 characteristics of an irresistible profile that will just attract your ideal clients. They don't want to, like moths to light. There we go. A decent analogy. And the LinkedIn profile checklist. If you stick around until the end, you're going to be able to download this. So just briefly, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Dumont Owen. I am, and I have a number of credentials. My first is that I'm a PhD in education. So I have spent a couple of decades developing curriculum and teaching it at the college level. But perhaps even more important, I'm a former 7th grade English teacher. And what I learned in that experience, when I had so many students at different levels and with different modes of learning, I learned how to break things down to their simplest components and then put them in ways that everyone could learn from them. I'm also a certified master personal brand strategist and a certified digital branding strategist. That means I help my clients build powerful brands and then promote them on LinkedIn because that's where I specialize. I'm a LinkedIn coach and trainer, and I'm a certified executive and leadership coach and career management coach. So enough about me. Let's get into, one last thing. I help B2B coaches and consultants build lead generation systems to attract, engage, and convert their ideal client and convert clients who are a 100% fit on LinkedIn. So we're going to be talking about personal brand statements in a few minutes. That's mine. And don't worry too much about taking a lot of notes. I am going to send you these PowerPoints and a recording of the presentation. All right, so this is my lucrative LinkedIn lead generator. It is a system for developing leads. And what I want you to notice is where your profile sits in this system, because it's not in the first part, it's the second part. The first part of the system, the first stage, is getting really, really clear about your goals, your niche, and your personal brand. And we're not going into those a great deal today, but if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, or you don't know who exactly your ideal clients are, good luck attracting them, right? And then finally, you must know your personal brand. You must know who you are, what you stand for, who you are authentically, what your promise is, how you're unique, and how you stand out from your competitors. All of those things are part of your personal brand. Your values and your vision are part of your personal brand. So all those things are really important, because when you get into this second stage, awareness, and get into building your profile and content marketing, those things, all of these things in stage one inform what you do in stage two. So I just want you to be clear on where it falls. Now, I do a lot of presentations on stage one. Today, we're going to concentrate on your profile and how to build one that really sings to your ideal clients. Okay. There are a lot of people talk about building an all-star profile. What an all-star profile means is that you have filled out every section of your profile completely. It doesn't give you an indication of how strong it is or how powerful it is, other than in terms of LinkedIn ranks you or gives you a higher ranking or rating in search results when you have filled out every single section. So it does make a difference in where you appear in search results. It does not make a difference in terms of whether your profile is irresistible to your ideal clients and whether it compels them to take the next step in your sales process, because that's the role of your profile. Your profile, again, is to attract your ideal clients. You want to engage with them when they are on your profile, and then you want to compel them to take the next step in your sales funnel or sales process. So let's move on. Here's why most LinkedIn profiles don't work. And I'm telling you, if you can nail your profile, you're way ahead of, 80% of the people on LinkedIn. So let's look at this. Why most of them don't work? They're Me Too profiles. They looked at someone else's profile and they decided, that's what I should be doing. Well, yes and no. Looking at other people's profiles, at your competitors' profiles, will help you identify keywords. It helps you understand, what all the different models or whatever you do are out there, but it doesn't help you in terms of engaging people once they're on your profile. It will help you in terms, like I said, of keywords, and keywords are a very important thing. We'll talk about that. They make it a best kept secret. They don't promote their brand and their profile. And your profile attracts people. It's what I call a pull strategy. All your content marketing and all your engagement with people on LinkedIn pushes them towards your profile, which then takes them to the next step. It's passive rather than active. You don't ever change it, and it doesn't have a lot of activity associated with it. It's just there, but it's not doing anything for you. No targeting. When you don't know who your ideal clients are, you can't really target them, and you can't create a profile that speaks their language. And finally, it's incongruent. What you say in your headline doesn't match what's in the about, or what they say in their headline doesn't match their about section, isn't supported by their experience sections and all the credibility and recommendations. It's just, it doesn't hold together. And people are looking for the authentic you. That's who they're going to listen to. So it's really, really important that your brand remains consistent throughout your profile. Okay, let's talk about 7 characteristics of an irresistible LinkedIn profile. 1, it's client focused, meaning, I know you're awesome. You don't have to convince me of that, but you also don't have to convince them of that right off the bat. It's client focused. It's focused on their problems and then your solutions. It speaks their language and it lets them know that they are in the right place. It's magnetic. It is irresistible to the people that you want to attract. And the flip side of that is that it doesn't attract the people that you don't want. Because a good profile is going to attract people, your ideal clients, and just not speak to the rest of them. You don't want the rest of those people. You want your ideal clients. It's relevant, meaning it provides value based on their needs, their biggest challenges, their problems. It's compelling. Now, I know that you probably know that only the first 3 lines of your about section, what used to be called the summary, that the first 3 lines are all that show before somebody has to click see more. So those 3 lines have to absolutely, just blow them out of the water. Just not off your profile, blow them out of the water. And but here's what a lot of people don't say. Each sentence, each line has to compel them to read the next one. Each line is a decision-making point, okay? And so you really have to make it tight, make it engaging, and just make it all about them. Authentic, and by that I mean when people come to your profile, they see the authentic you, and that's all part of that personal brand. Authenticity is a rarity in our world. So when people see someone who is truly authentic, being themselves, then they're attracted to that. They believe it. They recognize it. So you really want to develop a personal brand that is 100% authentic. And finally, it has to be unique. It has to stand out from all your competitors. Again, that is a function of branding, knowing how you are like your other competitors and what makes you different. Because one thing's for sure, and I'm going to really, really emphasize this. People don't buy from you because you're better than everyone else. They buy from you because you're different, but you're their kind of different. You're speaking to them. So remember that. It's not being the best, because I can pretty much guarantee you that unless you're the only person in a brand new occupation in the world, there are going to be a ton of people who are better. I mean, that's just, or at least just as good. But what makes the difference is how you stand out from those people. What in your program or your personality or your values or the way you work speaks to them. It's that difference. Okay, so let's look at each of these elements. The first element was client focus. And by that, I mean, it's not about you. It's about them. It is so tempting because we want so much to have people recognize our credentials that we focus on them and we don't focus on clients. So if you land, think about this, if you land on someone's profile and it just initially starts off with how great they are, it's kind of a turnoff. You want to know what they can do for you. That's what's really important to you. So it's not about you, it's about them. and it's speaking to them. So, to point two, it is written in the first person, meaning you speak in terms of I and we instead of his, her, you, or them. And that's really important because you want it to be conversational. You want to, when people land on your profile, you want them to feel like you are having a conversation with them. And I'm going to show you a really cool trick in a few minutes about that. It also, like I said before, addresses their problems and challenges. And it does that before it spotlights your solutions. So you absolutely want your solutions in there, but you don't want them first. You want them to see themselves, recognize themselves, feel like you're having a conversation with them, and then you provide your solution. And your solution focuses on results. You know, what it is that happens when you do your magic, baby. You know, what then happens? It focuses on those results. And very, very important, the last point, it provides guidance with a clear call to action. Now, what do I mean by call to action? That's where you tell people the next step they need to take in your sales process. Download my free gift, subscribe to my newsletter, schedule a free strategy session. Whatever that next step is, that's what you're going, that's the last thing, the very last thing in your about section of your profile. It's going to be a call to action, and it's only going to be one, because research has clearly shown that people will do things when you ask them to, but they won't do them if you give them a choice. They won't make that decision. They don't know you well enough yet. So you want to tell them the exact next step they can take to really reach out to you and get your attention so you can work with them. Okay, you need to make your profile magnetic. And by that, I mean absolutely irresistible to the clients that are a 100% right fit for your business, for your programs, for your products. Okay, so the first one is knowing your niche. I talked about that. You have to be really, really clear on who they are. Using that conversational tone, using the right keywords. And I'm going to stop here for just a second and talk about keywords. Keywords are really, really important. And it's important to use them throughout your profile. So we're going to continue talking about those, but understand that using the right keywords is what is going to have you show up in the searches when your ideal clients are looking for you. Okay, that's what's going to put you there. That's what's going to bring you up. Now, you also want to brand your headline or headlines if you have more than one program, and that's okay. We're going to talk about that. You also want to up your Google juice with images and or video. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that Google absolutely loves images. And there's only one thing Google loves more, and that's moving images. So if you haven't started experimenting with video, start, because this is what's going to set you apart. Now, we're not talking particularly about content marketing today, but video is absolutely the way that you are going to excel at that. And you can take lots of baby steps to get into video. It doesn't have to be as onerous as it sounds. Okay, so let's talk about branded content. I've told you that it's really important to focus on your brand. It's really important to have that brand statement. And let's see if I can quickly get back to that. And I want to bring your attention back to my brand statement. I help B2B coaches and consultants build lead generation systems to attract, engage, and convert clients who are a 100% right fit on LinkedIn. I talk about who I help, what I help them do, what the results are. And that's your brand statement. You know, you have to be really, really specific. So moving back to here, we're now going to talk about branded content. So your branded content is the stuff that shows up at the top of your profile. So what is that? Well, it's your banner, it's your picture, it's your name, and it's your headline. So let's look at each of these individually. Now, in my banner, I chose to focus on my company, but I have seen some really effective banners that focus on, say, a free gift, and it'll have, you know, a picture of the free gift and the website for it, or it'll have their logo, or it'll have, but it has something that indicates their brand. Okay, so it doesn't have to be your logo, it can be anything else. And I also have below it what exactly I do. So helping coaches and consultants build success on LinkedIn. And then I have a tagline that I use on my website: more leads, more clients, more revenue, more life. Okay, so by that I mean, you know, the more leads you have, the more clients you're going to have, the more revenue you're going to have, and then you're going to have the freedom to really live a life, which speaks volumes to some of us. Okay, so that's the first part of your branded content. The second part is going to be your picture. And it's important that your picture look professional in terms of the people that you are trying to attract. It does not have to be a professional headshot by a photographer. That's kind of gone by the wayside. There are a lot of people who still do it. And if you want to invest in that, that's fine. That's totally your choice. But I want to point out some things to you. You want a neutral background, something that isn't going to fight with your picture. You want to focus on your head and shoulders. And the next time I do this, I'm going to take up a little more room with my head and shoulders, and not because I would really like to crop it, you know, just below my shoulders. And I'm looking straight into the camera and smiling because it's important to look approachable. And I'm, you know, like I said, I'm professionally attired. Now, if you're in IT, and most of those guys walk around, you know, in casual shirts and you know, even jeans a lot of the time, or a casual shirt and a sports coat, then that's how you should be dressing. Okay, you dress the way that's going to appeal to your ideal clients, and that is representative of professional people in your area. The next place is your name. Hold on just a second. And here I want to draw attention to one thing. I do have my PhD behind my name. LinkedIn does not discourage you from putting academic credentials. So, you know, whatever your academic credential, that's fine. You could also put certified life coach or certified career coach or something like that. But you don't, what I really want you to bear in mind is you don't want to put a bunch of initials in there that stand for certifications that people aren't going to know right off the bat. Okay, so, and the other thing that you need to remember, if you put it behind your name, is that you are going to, it's not searchable. So the keywords that you would have behind there are not searchable. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And then finally, you have your headline. Now, this is where you want to put your most compelling keywords. And I know that with mine, master personal brand strategist and digital brand strategist are two terms that people really look for, are two, you know, personal and digital brand strategists. Those are all really big keywords in my field. I also, you know what, and I didn't even put LinkedIn leads on LinkedIn. I have since changed that. But then I had my tagline, helping coaches and consultants, right? Those are my ideal clients, land lucrative leads, meaning, you know, you're going to be able to generate more leads without the sleaze, because I teach a system that doesn't involve being pushy, phony, or manipulative. So that's kind of my brand. All right, so those are the kinds of things that are going to go into your branded content. And by the way, with your LinkedIn banner, you can change it, and I would change it fairly often, like once every 1 or 2 months. And you can make a free banner with the free version of Canva, canva.com. You just go there, you type in LinkedIn, and it'll come up with banner. And they have all these banners that are the exact right dimensions for LinkedIn. It makes it really, really easy. Okay, now we're going to talk about video for a minute. LinkedIn just introduced what they call the Harry Potter effect, which I love because having been a 7th grade teacher, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But what I wanted to point out to you, and I just got this on mine, so I haven't even been able to do it for myself yet. But when somebody is using the Harry Potter effect, you will see this circle turn orange. And what that means is when you click on their picture, you are going to get a 30-second video introducing themselves. So just think about how cool this is that you can do this video that actually introduces you to your ideal clients, actually verbalizes that brand, verbalizes, your recognition of their problems, verbalizes your solutions. And 30 seconds may not seem like a lot of time. You're absolutely going to want to practice this, but 30 seconds is enough to establish pure authenticity and really let people feel comfortable with you. Or if they're the wrong people, not feel comfortable with you. Because remember, you don't want all those wrong people. You want the right people. Okay, so that's the Harry Potter effect. And I put a little arrow there. Okay, now let's go on to LinkedIn headline formulas. And if you'll remember, in my headline, I had 2 titles that were my keywords. So they covered both. And then I had some sizzle. That was my helping develop leads without the sleeves. So that was my sizzle. So let me show you. This is just showing you again what mine was. Here's another one, and this is by a person who is one of the best copywriters I know. And what she does is she polishes up people's writing. People in the career industry, she polishes up their writing and helps them use it in the right strategy. She really helps busy, gutsy career pros get unstuck. Fast, fun, done. And if you knew her, this is exactly who she is. So she's a brand storyteller. Storyteller and brand are huge keywords. Editor, keyword. Writing, keyword. Strategy, keyword. Coach, keyword. Okay? And she's got career in there, which is another keyword. So she really made this work for her. Fast, fun, done. That's so succinct and so cool. Okay, so that's it. Whoops. Let's go back here for a sec. Okay, the last one is certified professional coach and career consultant, appointed city commissioner as a result of a darn good elevator pitch. So here we're talking about someone, again, who has put the right keywords in there. And then her sizzle is really great because she's a career coach, and career coaches teach people how to do elevator speeches. So it's just a really excellent example of a branded LinkedIn headline. Okay, now the second thing I'm going to point out to you is how to optimize your content information, because that's one of the first things people see, and it's also how they're going to get in touch with you, right? So a couple of things I want to point out to you. First, When you go in to optimize your content information, what you're going to see is linkedin.com/in/ and it's going to be a whole bunch of gobbledygook. Go in and change that to your name, the same name you have on your profile. Then you can put up to 3 websites. Now, these don't have to be actual websites, or they can be part of your website, or they can be a landing page. So it's going to give you a list of pages that you can, that you can indicate, but you can also choose other. And when you choose other, it's going to have you type it in. So it could be your blog, or it could be your calendar where they can make appointments, or it could be a landing page. So any of those can really personalize what you're doing. Okay, and that's the website showing that. Okay, add a profile section. Now and you don't necessarily see this right off the bat, but I'm going to show you in a minute why this could be really important. You can add a profile section to your LinkedIn profile. And there's one that I always, always, always recommend, and that is adding the featured section, because that's going to feature, when you add the featured section, you can then upload your best presentations. You can upload a video that you've done that's 10 minutes or under that, and you can update articles, certificates, just anything that you want there, you can upload. So it's a really great way to show off your content, to show off what you do to help your clients. So it's super important. Okay. This is another thing that LinkedIn just added. LinkedIn has added what they call the creator mode. And right now what you're looking at on my website, whoops, did that just go away? Yeah. What you're seeing on my LinkedIn profile here is the standard mode. And in the standard mode, you're going to see 500 connections, right? And then right where this message box is, you're going to see connect, and that's it. You're going to see those things. And then under that, it's going to go to your about section or your featured section, whichever one you put. And then you're going to go on from there. But it's going to put your about section coming up first. So this is where they would connect with you. Now with creator mode, it's and you don't need to put this would not read connect if you were landing on my profile. It would say follow. And if you look here, you'll see that it gives your followers plus your connections. Now, I really like this mode because what it does is it rearranges your profile so that your most interesting content is at the top. That featured section is at the very top. So people are immediately going to get that. Another great reason for this is that LinkedIn is never going to show people who aren't your first degree connections how many connections you have. You have to click on it to see how many connections it is. But you could have a gajillion followers. They will all show up. So it's much more impressive. However, if you are new to LinkedIn or you haven't done a lot of lead generation work yet, and you are really trying to build that up, it might be better to still stay with the standard mode until you've got this built up, until you've got some really good content that you can put in there and really gain traction. Now, the follower mode or the creator mode is really great because LinkedIn gives you a lot of help with your content if you're in creator mode. And you can actually select 5 hashtags that you publish on. So it's a great place to be. But think about it before you do it because it might not be your best next move. So right there. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to mention is don't worry because in creator mode, it doesn't say connect. It says follower over here. When people click on more, there's a place where they can put creator mode. Okay. And to turn on creator mode, you're going to go to your dashboard. You're going to click, it will say off or on. And if you want it on, you'll click on. If you want it off, you'll click off. And if you haven't clicked anything, it's going to be off. Okay, so let's move on to the About section, because the About section is really special, and that is where you're really summarizing your best qualifications. So in the About section, I want you to think of what they teach in journalism: the who, what, where, why, and how. Those are the most important things about the About section. And think about that, you know, if you're old enough to, or have seen newspapers, if you still get a newspaper or you remember newspapers at least, you know, this was everything that was above the fold. And, you know, a newspaper, even if you're seeing it online, has their most important stuff at the top, right? There's that big headline, and then they go into the who, what, where, why, and how, because they want you to get all those facts right up front. So that's what you're doing. So who you help, who you serve is a big component of that. What you do or what other people say, you can use this in both ways, but what you do to help your ideal clients. Where you've seen me or where you can find me. You know, a lot of people have in their banner, that place at the top, they'll have a series of pictures of, you know, of either places that you could have seen them. Maybe it's a picture of a convention, or it's a picture of you speaking someplace. So it's really great to have that, because it lends credibility to your brand. Why you do it. This is the big why. You know, it's why, what drove you here? What's your brand story? You know, why are you doing what you do? When you do it, do you have special events that you promote? Do you have special programs that you promote? Those things can go in your About section. And then finally, how I help. You know, who you serve, and you know, oh, and I forgot, I'm seeing up here, I didn't include the last one. Not just what I do, but what the results are. Okay, so back down, then when I do it, and then how I help or serve, you know. So you're really talking again about your brand, you know, who you help, your big why, what you help them with, and what the results are. You know, that's what people are interested in when they visit your About section. And then the very last thing you have in your About section is your call to action. Very, very important. Okay. Okay, my slide's not advancing. Hold on. Okay. Here are just the quick tips on how to write your About section. Know your why. Know your big why. If you've ever watched that Simon Sinek TED speech, he talks about your big why. That's what it's all about. Include your personal brand statement. We've certainly been talking about that. Identify your keywords. Get crystal clear on your niche. Focus on their pain points. You've all heard the analogy of going from Pain Island to Pleasure Island. You know, what are their pain points? And then present your solution. And then tell them what to do next. That's your call to action. Okay, let's look at some of the other sections. Experience. Now, you're going to use experience in a number of different ways. The first thing I want you to remember is this is not a resume. Your experience doesn't follow those rules. You're not required to have discrete time periods for each part of your experience. So you can use your experience if you have a lot of experience in the past and you want to put that. If you've been a serial entrepreneur, you want to put that. You can also use experience sections to highlight what you do with different niches or what you do with different services. So you could have the exact same dates. You could say, you know, 1918 through 1921, and you could have your niche You could write this to, in my case, I have consultants, so I could put one of my experience sections as still my company, still that lucrative LinkedIn lead generator company, but have different niches that I'm, have one experience section talk to consultants, the other section talk to coaches. You can, whoops, I've got two at a time. You can optimize your headlines with keywords in your brand statement and emphasize the results you provide and reinforce with social proof is available. And what I mean by emphasize the results and reinforce with social proof, your endorsements and recommendations are all the way down at the end of your profile. So if you want people to get a really good dose of what other people think, you can put a snippet of what somebody said or a couple of snippets, but that way you can provide and reinforce that social proof. You can also use those snippets in your about section. And finally, include that call to action. Now, it does not have to be the same call to action. It's great if you can be that consistent, but maybe for consultants, I have one thing I want them to do next, and for coaches, I have another one. So that would be why I would put different calls to actions in different experience sections, but never more than one call to action in one section. Other information you can and should include your education, and be really precise here as to the name of the degree, the university. You do not have to put down the year. So if you just graduated and you're worried about people thinking you're wet behind the ears, you don't have to put those. Or if you graduated a few decades ago and you think people will see you as, out of step, you don't have to put those dates. So it's really good that way. Put your certifications and licensures. And again, you don't have to put the dates. Put your accomplishments. These are the things that you've accomplished that may not be evident in the other sections that you've done. Maybe you're fluent in a second language. Maybe you serve on a board. Maybe you have, maybe you taught yourself how to live stream, which was mine, and I have to tell you, it took a while. So that's a huge accomplishment for me. Then you're going to go to your skills and endorsements. And this is another place where LinkedIn only shows the top 3 before you have to click see more. So you want your most important skills and endorsements up at the top, your most important 3, and then work backwards in order of importance, because these are where people are going to endorse you. So you want them to see the 3 most important ones if they're going to endorse you. Recommendations. Now, recommendations are extremely important. They are social proof that you are who you say you are, that you get the results you say you get. And if you don't have them now, then start planning for them. I would aim for 1 new recommendation every month. And if you don't have any recommendations, start with a list of people that you can write to or message or call and ask for recommendations, because it's that important. It's much more impressive to have 6 recommendations over the last 6 months than it is to have 78 recommendations, but they were 10 years ago. Okay? And finally, interest, because interest helps people relate to you. They make you more real, they make you more human, and they give people an idea of how they can connect with you. So interests are extremely important. So some quick tips. Avoid keyword stuffing. And by that, I mean, putting them all the way through and focusing on including all those keywords rather than where they occur naturally in a conversation. It makes it really choppy. And another thing to avoid is listing keywords at the bottom of your profile saying specialties, because Google looks at context. It looks at the context things fall in. So listing keywords doesn't work anymore. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. Be stingy. Only provide recommendations and endorsements to people you really know and can really endorse or recommend, because that's your brand. If you recommended someone, and I did this, I recommended a VA, and then really regretted it, but I can't take that back. So really think about it. It's brand association. Make it easy for people to find you with that customized URL and your contact information. Link your profile to your company page. Then people click on it and they go to your company page. And you can promote things from your company page that you can't from your LinkedIn page. You can promote it, you can boost events, you can boost content. So it's really important to have a company page. And we just don't have time to go into that today. Include your appointment calendar in your website links. Avoid jargon. You know, this is something that I had to learn because I'm an academic crossing over into entrepreneurship. And I had to completely learn to unuse all of that academic, jargon. I mean, it's hard to get out of your language, but it's possible. Use the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Simplicity in everything, and be generous. Give a little information, educate people a little bit on your profile. That's where that featured content can come in. Give a little to get a lot back, because if you're seen as generous, people are going to relate to you much more easily, and you're showing them, you're strutting your stuff. Okay, so very important. All right, now I promised you, if you made it through this, that I would show you how to download the essential LinkedIn profile checklist, which is like a guide list. You can use it to check over your profile and see where you need to improve and where you don't. So that's the link. Either take a screenshot now, or I am distributing the slides and the recordings later or tomorrow or the next day. Depends on how long they take to convert this recording. So, but you will get all of this, all right? So I want you to be aware that that's out there for you. So important links really quickly. You can connect with me by email. You can ask me questions. I have a Friday Q&A show. AskDumontowen@gmail.com. Send me your questions. I'll answer them on air. And if you give me your name with it, if you can't make the recording or the session, I'll send it to you. Okay, so just let me know who you are. This is my LinkedIn, link that just like I told you guys to do, and this is my appointment calendar. So take a screenshot, or just wait until I send you the recording and the slides. And that is that. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. You should be seeing me now. I certainly hope. I'm going to look in here and see. It's sometimes easier for me to see you guys if you're on my Dumont and Associates page. So let's look and see. Oh, thanks. A couple of engagements and some nice comments. I appreciate that. No questions. But if you weren't able to do this live, when you get the recording, send me your questions, because I really love answering your questions. It makes me go out sometimes and find them. That was my big dare to me. Be willing to go online and answer people's questions in the here and now. So this was all about how to build a LinkedIn profile. Keep this information handy when you get it, because it's going to be a great assist. So until next time, this is Dumont Owen saying ta-ta for now. Okay.